Okay. A terrific new film is releasing in Australian cinemas very shortly, a film called Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. And it's my great pleasure to be speaking to the director of Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, Sophie Hyde. Sophie, welcome to Movie Metropolis.
Thanks, Peter. Great to be here.
Always good to talk to you. I remember that your film Animals and 52 Tuesdays, of course, you choose some really interesting projects. Tell me about working with Katy Brand, who's the writer of the screenplay, in bringing this film to the screen.
Yeah, sure. Katy had written a script, and she'd sort of sat down and written it very quickly, from what I understand. And she had this idea for two people to kind of meet together, one of whom was a woman who'd never had good sex and wanted to. And so she hired a sex worker, and so he was the other one, Leo. And I think Katy says, she just wanted to hear their voices. She just had them in mind. So she needed to write it to hear them. And she is a very funny woman. She's a comedian, and she wanted to sort of tackle some taboos and kind of break them down, but also she just wanted to hear them together. When I got that script, it was a short script, 70 pages, and it was very much like the beginning of the movie, the first act of the film. And it was 3 meetings long, but it was frizzy and funny. And Emma was already attached to the film, Emma Thompson, and I could hear Emma's voice in the character of Nancy when I read it, And Emma had a very strong connection to that character and found her deeply familiar to her, and felt like it was someone that she wanted to play, and that she hadn't really seen much on screen before, certainly not in a lead role. And then I was really drawn to the idea of two people in a room and what was possible in terms of intimacy and connection. And certainly when you're looking at sex and your bodies and the shame around that, and that stuff was really fascinating to me. The character of Leo was particularly fascinating to me and always has been. And so I sort of said to Katy and our producer, Debbie, I know you guys want to shift it still from where it is now, like expand it. This is what I think we could do, which was making it a bit longer and putting some sex in, because there was no sex before, and a few things like that, and going into some more stuff about bodies and Leo's character. And so then we worked for 6 months or so on the script remotely. I was in Adelaide, South Australia, and Katy was actually in Germany, and everyone else was in the UK. And so we worked like that until we came together to shoot.
Well, congratulations on that process, because it comes through so effectively, and Emma Thompson is just superb. And I must say, Daryl McCormack is quite a find, even though he's been in a number of other roles. So some people assume he's his first role. It's not, of course. I remember him seeing him in Pixie. So the two of them working together, you must have had quite a process of rehearsal, and because I read it was shot chronologically.
It was, yes. We shot chronologically in 19 days, which is very fast, right? And it's dialogue heavy, the script, and so those two needed to, be great actors and do all the things that good actors do, which is know their lines and be able to deliver them in many, many ways and whatever. But they also needed something more, which was that they needed to have a connection and a kind of relationship between each other that could sustain that kind of work when there was no one else to go to. They were on set every moment of that shoot, performing every day, with 6-day weeks and whatever. So they had a really strong connection the very first time they met. They felt safe with each other, comfortable with each other, and like they could be very real. And then, yes, we also did a 6-day rehearsal process, which may sound short, but is kind of luxurious in filmmaking still, And we were all in Norwich, and there was a lockdown going on. And so we were very much together all the time, and we couldn't do anything else, which was really good for us, I think, actually. We had this little bubble rehearsal room, and we just shut the door every day, and we explored the physicality that we needed to do. We talked about the stories of the characters and shared things about our own lives and played around with the tone. And, by the end of that week of rehearsals, we felt like we were just we could walk onto that set and just knew exactly where we wanted to go. And I knew what they needed to kind of keep them on the path, which towards the film that we decided we wanted to make together, you know? So it was a really intimate experience as well for us, just like it is on the screen for them.
Yes, yes. And it's interesting, I also read that there was no intimacy coordinator as such, that it was all between the two actors and yourself, etc., and all shot largely in one hotel room. Did you have many people on set who were part of the filming process?
Many people are always involved in every movie and significant to it. Our set was very small. It was a studio, actually, and so we built that hotel room. And yeah, because of COVID, there was even smaller number of people that were kind of in the inner circle of who could be around on the set. So there was this kind of very small amount of people, and then this larger sort of amount outside of that, but still in the building, and then larger amounts sort of remote working with us. So sometimes it felt like it was just Emma and Daryl and Brian, the cinematographer, and I in a little world of our own, like few people kind of recording sound and helping, get the focus right and things like that. It did feel really small and intimate. I think it was a fairly small crew anyway. When it comes to intimacy coordinating, we all agree that it's a really good development. We think that they're excellent, and some of the work they're doing is really curtailing some of the abuse that's been prevalent in filmmaking. We didn't feel we needed it with this, and we checked in with each other a lot, and we needed to be very frank with each other. And we needed to kind of maintain a kind of pact between the three of us about being honest and truthful about what we felt at any one time. And I have a really strong feeling that for actors, you need to kind of work the same way you would when you talk about consent in sex, which is constant and enthusiastic consent. And that needs to be maintained through the shoot, so people can change their minds, because you don't just say yes once, right? You have to keep saying yes all the time. And I think that's true of actors as well when it comes to this kind of very intimate work, is there's a capacity from them, or there's a deal with them that they can always change what we need to do, that they can always say no to something along the way. And that was part of the kind of fundamental part of how we work together.
How interesting to hear that process. And it's so interesting to see how the film progresses, how Emma and Daryl work together so well, and inhabit their characters, if you like to put it that way. And by the time we get to the final act, so to speak, we really feel, I think, for both of them in terms of their lives and their situation. So bringing that out, and credit to you, and of course to the two actors, to Emma and Daryl, is kudos in terms of bringing that to a logical conclusion, I suppose.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think they're both supremely talented, humans, and I also think they both really wanted these two characters on screen. So I think she was surprised sometimes at how sort of deeply connected, or how she felt about Nancy. And she has an amazing ability. She kind of, it's like she doesn't think as herself when she's acting. She thinks as the character. That's how it feels when you're with her, She really does embody the choices of that character. And I think Daryl has some qualities that he really enhanced the role of Leo. He's a very generous human and very gentle and open. And, I often think about his physicality, because he's so tall, and sometimes you meet tall people and they're very imposing when they come into a room, but Daryl's not like that at all. He's really, he doesn't use that physicality kind of as a power play. And I really love watching him create a character of Leo who's a man that's not aiming for a version of masculinity that, quite frankly, we're all sick and tired of and bored with, and is problematic. He shows me a masculinity that is really gentle and generous and interested in somebody else. And I think that's thrilling to watch.
Yes, yes. Oh no, the two of them are just superb. And I know the film, I think, premiered at Sundance, if I'm not mistaken. Tell me about how
right.
Emma and Daryl reacted when they saw the final version of the film.
Let's ask the question again, because it just cut out a tiny bit.
Just how Emma and Daryl reacted when they saw the final cut of the film.
Oh yeah, great. Yes, we sent it to them before we'd actually locked the picture, because part of that thing of the enthusiastic consent that was constant was that I had a deal with them that was like, even in the edit, if they didn't like something, they could remove it from the film in terms of their nakedness. And that was because I wanted them to be as free as possible, and I wanted them to feel like the purpose was worth whatever was on screen, you know. So they watched it together in a room, and I think they said they just couldn't even speak for about an hour afterwards, actually, which I'm glad I wasn't there for, because I would have just been panicking then. But I think it was just a really intense experience for them. But they rang me not too long after. They'd had a couple of drinks by then, and I knew that they were really happy with the film and what it meant, even though they might have been going like, oh, I've just watched myself and all of those things that actors have to do. But no, they that purpose, that reason that we were making it was really clear for them, and still was. And I think since then they've seen it in Berlin. We saw it with a huge audience, just massive, and they had so much fun, and they really were able to watch it with it, like an audience of people enjoying it. And I think that's been brilliant for them, because Sundance was online this year, so we did premiere there, but it was all remote. So Berlin was the first time that we went out with a crowd, and it was, you know, exciting. Yeah.
What an experience, and I'm so glad to hear their reaction, and that it was positive, and so on.
Me too.
Look, Sophie, congratulations on the film. It's a really a fine film, and I urge my audiences to go and see it. I'm quite intrigued. Are you working on another film at the moment?
Thanks, Peter.
Yep. Are you, Sophie, are you working on another film?
I am. I have a couple. Yeah, I think it slowed down for a second, but yeah, I heard you. And yes, I have got a couple of films that I'm working on, and one that I've written that's a very personal story about my family that I hope will be the next thing that I shoot. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Sophie, congratulations on Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, a line that is spoken in the film. And we've been speaking to the director of the film, Sophie Hyde. Sophie, thanks so much for talking with me.
Thanks, Peter. It's been great to talk.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.